It's the time to get down.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't feel any older.
Don't.
I just don't.
Once you turn 25, it's all.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's all a blur.
Well, this is all
I can always tell
fitting.
people this is premature.
Oh, I like that one.
Well, you know, part of the surprise that got Phil here too is that long after that night when we were done with the wonderful day of programming and celebration, we were sitting down and we had 2 fried turkeys. So later on that night, when I was sitting down to pick over some turkey bones, we looked over there and we saw his wife Lillian's cell phone plugged up into the wall, and we know they were well on their way to Rancho Cucamonga.
Right.
Ah.
Which is the nature of my visit.
Oh.
And a great visit. I love it. You
So
get
he had-
more visits
we
like
had to
that,
get him
man.
back.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
You really did miss a good time. I had a lot of fun.
I keep hearing about
And
it.
you'd be surprised how many Facebook hits I got
Huh.
when we got home.
really.
Yeah, wishing me, birthday salutations and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So that was good.
It was good. It was fun.
And we've had, I stayed up. Phil saw me on Facebook, I was commenting, I'm tired. See, because he knows he hung out with me.
Yeah.
He was the one hanging out. He knew.
Yeah.
He went to bed at 1:30. I stayed. So I had another night because you know what? People wanted to see that video bad,
Yeah.
and so I was like, okay, I'll make some coffee. And I did. I made some coffee, and so the videos are uploading. We're like on the 8th segment. It's like 15 pieces of this whole day. So they're uploading as we sit here. So you get a
Nice.
chance.
Yeah.
You're to be commended for your diligence in the editing. I know I became garrulous more than once.
You were one. I'm telling you, it's so wonderful. It's wonderful. Now here's a man who also, as an artist, is someone who's affected by so many of these things that we talked about today in terms of piracy, music. Yet his attitude toward using this technology is so positive. He's one of the few now because so many people, as we said on other shows, in the face of an industry that's changing with radio losing their market.
Not only losing their market, but not effectively selling what they do.
That's right.
Take a look at the amount of money that the Fortune 500 companies spent in African American advertising on radio 5 years ago
Wow.
versus what they spend now.
Nothing.
And then look at the rate of return on their investment for buying those radio spots 5 years ago, and look what the rate of return is now.
See? And it's not going to stop. It's affecting all the media, print media. You're hearing every day about companies, Life magazine,
The digital age changes everything.
and they won't adapt.
Everything.
And it does change everything.
You know,
Yeah, it's
in
changed
my
everything.
side of the industry, in the music industry, if there's no retail, there are no sales. Well, as I posed the question to the people that were gracious enough to come to our little birthday celebration a couple of days ago, if there's no retail and they're not buying it on the internet, who's purchasing it and where?
That means they're not.
That means that it's not even accessible.
That's right.
I mean, aside from the fact that the accessibility is also hampered by free radio really not breaking new artists.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. In fact, when have they, see, what happens so amazing to me is the people who like to cry foul,
Right.
but they haven't done shit for you in so long. It's ridiculous. For radio to now cry foul and harm and want everybody to turn to them. I said, you've had that little limited playlist for all these years. You've done nothing breaking or new. And now all of a sudden you want everybody to come back to... I'm talking about majoring. Now, there are markets.
Yeah.
Of course, there are folks, but they stand out for the ones that actually did something for artists.
Well, I embrace the new technology because I remember when cable was starting to break in, and a lot of people in the area that I grew up in said, oh, nobody's going to pay for television. Now, if you don't pay for it, you don't get
That's
it.
right.
That's true.
So why would I arbitrarily, in and of myself, think that I can go against what what every piece of data about the industry suggests, it would be like, it would be futile. You know, when the technology changes, it changes for a reason. If you don't change with it, you get left behind.
Well, this whole issue that we're discussing now, again, really relates to this, and it's good to have Phil weigh in on it. Because the issue of it is one thing, we know we want artists. I know I want artists to make money. I'm not so sure about the previous infrastructures and businesses that existed, because to me, they have survived by taking advantage of people for a long time, just like, and taking advantage of legislation, just like the sports allowed to write those contracts that would not be allowed in other industries. Okay,
Correct.
so for years they've been allowed to take advantage. So that's the part I'm glad to see. But we know we want artists to make more money. The issue is, whose job is it to regulate? Because I'm telling you guys, as a techie, when you tell somebody, stop someone from using this in an inappropriate way, I don't know of any way to stop that.
Yeah.
And if you tell me to, that could take up all of my money. That's like telling me, Mario, if you want to use the new internet, go solve cancer. And they will let you use it. So when they tell someone to police it, there's no way to police it. And anything to try to police it is going to be violating your rights to such a degree. And that's already an issue with you being able to be identified.
Right.
You know, when you go on the internet to be followed, there's cookies all over your stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Good cookies and bad cookies. The reason
Yeah.
why when
And
you
they
go...
and they both make crumbs.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
You know-
So it's part of the problem. Now, I don't have an answer. I'm just telling you. The issue right now is they're trying to tell Google. They're trying to tell the people who provide you with internet access, DSL Extreme. They're trying to tell you...
YouTube.
YouTube, right.
YouTube.
That's the big pocket.
Well, that's one of the bigger pockets, because it's interesting that you happen to be talking about this, because on the way down, I was listening to talk radio, and they were talking about the Senate subcommittee reviewing copyright and publishing infringement on the internet.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
And believe me when I say, if they make the already existing applicable copyright and publishing laws, if they grow teeth in those laws,
Right.
YouTube, they got to go.
Exactly.
Because let's just take one facet of YouTube. Let's just say that we're going to look at the videos that YouTube allows you to see. Well, most of those videos are music videos. And if they're music videos, they've been recorded. And if they've been recorded, someone had to write them, and someone's publishing them.
Feels right.
Okay? And when you go through that as an artist, I can only give you an artist perspective. When you live enough of your music to bleed it, to put it out there, and are willing to take it on the chin if it sells or it doesn't, and someone takes your intellectual property, your copyright, and your publishing, and gives it to the and gives an accessibility to the masses that are free, what does that say about the protection under the Constitution that the artists rely upon to be paid?
Says the truth, you ain't got no protection.
That's exactly right. So either the copyright law is applicable or it isn't.
And let me tell you something. YouTube is particularly now because, okay, let me add a few little things to make you think even more.
Now, don't misunderstand me. YouTube is relevant in today's digital
Yeah, but their
world.
role, too, has changed. See, in the beginning, too, as one of the people who was an
That's
early
right.
developer,
It was different.
I was one of the first people in the YouTube Partnership
Already
program.
there.
They were a different
Company.
entity.
Yeah.
Of course they were.
They were different people. They had some indie spirit because that's
Yes.
who made it.
Yes.
YouTube long ago got bought out.
And when
They're as big
done.
and corporate as Exxon.
As CNN
Google
or
is
whoever.
not even who Google was, you guys. So they're huge.
But Mario, how could they be?
Right.
Because with the growth of the new technology, so comes the growth of the individuals following them.
But
And if your mantra is, we're not charging anybody to view this, then isn't the unspoken mantra that we realize that people own this, but we're not going to pay them because we're not making any money. On
Except they did make huge,
Of course they did.
huge. Just think about it.
Of
When Google
course
bought
they
YouTube,
did.
huge.
Is there
ridiculous.
anything on the internet
That's not
that
on
really doesn't generate income
Somewhere? No.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I mean,
And the reason why it's pertinent, you guys, is because we don't get to know what YouTube made. I can tell you, even though we've had people know who watch our show know we've had a dispute with YouTube with previous accounts.
Yes, we have.
And we were part of the early YouTube partnership program. Currently, we've uploaded over 6,000 video clips. At the time, we had just over about 3,000 video clips. We didn't make a damn dime. And the thing about it, after an experience we had at mp3.com, where I had over 400,000 downloads of one of my tracks and made $4,000. But
Right.
do the math on that. 400,000 downloads, and I made $4,000.
Yeah.
So do the math, and you can see how little we were getting paid at all. So in the YouTube Partner Program, people are still talking because we're yet to have people who are saying they got some money. There are a few little people got a little bit of money, but with all those people, where is the real money going? And there's no way of even checking. In other words, we were saying, well, if you're going to pay us in the Partner Program, what is the criteria for payment? Is it for every view, 0.00001 cent? But you can't even tell us that.
no, it's not that they can't tell you.
They ain't going to tell you.
It's not, that's not true. They have the ability to tell you.
That's right.
But if they told you the truth, they would only incriminate themselves
That's right.
because they're paying probably less than 0.03% of what existing copyright law and
Right.
publishing law and intellectual property law suggests that you have coming every time somebody hears your stuff or sees your face. I think it's kind of funny myself because there's only two stops along the chain that you can get the money from. You're either going, in the case of YouTube,
That makes it simple, doesn't
yeah, it really does. Now, but follow
There's
along with
only
me
two
because
stops.
a lot of people aren't going to really get this. If the YouTube is showing the video, there is nothing on the internet that doesn't have a server. Nothing. So, where are they going to get the money? They're either going to get it from YouTube or from the combined servers that give YouTube. That's existing law. I mean, they're crying about it, but they've already broken the law. It's kind of like the
Right, been breaking
sensitivity
it.
that people have about illegal aliens.
Right.
They're illegal to begin with. When did our definitive line of right and wrong become so gray?
And let me give you a real example, too. Because Phil is exactly right. You understand, too.
I got it.
You know what I'm saying, man?
I already
And
know it.
it's totally great.
I know they're not. I know a lot of
totally
people ain't
great.
going to get it, but
It's philosophical.
it either is or it isn't.
Yeah.
And so that why would it be that if I put up a video with where we're talking to Phil and I play a video in that belongs to someone else, sometimes Phil himself,
Right.
and I get flagged, they tell me, "Oh, don't take it down. We're gonna put ads over
There
it."
you go.
Right.
See,
See, they
There you
don't
go.
say take it down.
No.
They say, "Oh, you put up a video that we think is copyright infringing. We're gonna put ads
put
up,
an ad.
ads up over it."
On top of it.
So what does that say? Is that like not condoning it?
What does it legal liability reduce the cost of anything that may inherently be attached to what they may be or may not be allowing?
But the
Why?
nature of the site
Yeah, right.
suggests an irregularity
Irregularity.
in legal liability to begin with.
I know. It's the who makes the rules.
That's why Rupert Murdoch is doing this. It's calling out Google because but see what? It's another one thing where it's the battle of the giants.
Yeah.
And I bet somehow we end up screwed no matter what. Because somehow out of the settlement, let me tell you what probably usually happens. They'll do a legal settlement. The companies will exchange a bunch of monies and the artists won't see shit.
That's right.
Remember.
That's